Hi again. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create an animated GIF in an image editing tool called Photopea that's very similar to Photoshop. This is an introduction to Photopea, mostly just to get the hang of a couple of things, using tools in the toolbar, finding hidden tools, bucket filling backgrounds, renaming layers, how layers work, renaming layers, duplicating layers, and creating an animated GIF. And it's going to be a very simple one where we're just flashing through different colored backgrounds. So let's get started. Go to Google, type in Photopea account. You're going to need to hit account and then log in, and then log in with Google. Now I'm logged in. New project. Don't worry about any of this stuff. We're just going to make a 500 by 500 pixel project, create. That's a little small, 500 by 500 pixels. I'd kind of like to zoom in on this. And that's a good introduction to the toolbar. These are all your tools over on the left side. There are tools hidden under these tools. If you click and hold on the tool, it'll bring up all of the tools that you can select there. There's 3 tools here, only 1 there, 3 here, like 6 here. So this is, if it's likely that you'll look at your toolbar and it will look different than mine. I'm working on a laptop at home. When I went to school, I got mostly the same tools, but some of them were hidden under others. And so that's frustrating, but it might take you, just know that. It might take you a while to find the tool you need. I want to zoom in. That's the magnifying glass at the bottom. I'm going to click that to select it. And then I'm going to click and drag to the right to zoom in. So click your mouse and move it to the right to zoom in. Click your mouse and move it to the left to zoom out. It feels weird at first, but you'll get used to it. Also, I'm on a trackpad because I'm on a laptop, but 2 fingers and moving around on the trackpad will move the whole picture around. Be aware of that. So I'm going to fill up this background with a color. So I'm just going to bucket fill the background. And that color can be selected down here at the bottom underneath the zoom. We're going to click the color. There's two here that we're going to click the one in the upper left. And then this is just a color picker. You should be familiar with these by now from the other projects that we've done. Just going to pick whatever color. It doesn't matter what it is right now, and click OK. And then bucket fills right here. Again, I could not find bucket fill at first because my gradient tool was showing here, and I had to go through all my tools, press and hold on them, click and hold in order to find that bucket tool underneath the gradient tool. So now that I have that selected, I can click on my background and fill it. And notice also that with a lot of other applications we work with, like I think the Google Suite does it this way, if you're going to bucket fill a shape, you'll see a little paint bucket. This program doesn't do that, so be aware of that. Okay, let's talk about layers for a minute because layers are fundamental to the way this works. And a layer is really, well, just a layer of, and we can stack layers in the program in order to sort of build up an image. If you look down here on the bottom right, you'll see layers here. This is the part of your workspace that will show you all of your different layers and what they're named. And one of the first things that we need to learn is how to rename a layer. So you can do that simply by double clicking on the name. I'm going to delete this and I'm going to rename it something kind of funny because we can actually use layers as frames of an animation, but we have to use, it's like a bit of code in order to tell the program like, hey, we're going to create an animation here and you're going to cycle through these layers as if they were sort of like pages of a flip book. So that little bit of code is 3 characters and it goes like this, _a_. And then we can give the layer whatever name we want. I'm going to call this frame 1. Return, and it's easy as that. Naming a layer, renaming a layer. I want to create another frame with a different color. So I'm going to duplicate this layer, and you do that by right-clicking on it to bring up this menu and duplicate layer. And you'll see we now have frame 1 copy. I'm going to rename that as frame 2. And I'm going to change the color. So in order to do that, I'm going to go back down to my color picker here. And it doesn't matter what color. This is just for demonstration purposes. So just pick a color. Okay, and then bucket fill is still selected here, so I can just click on my background and fill it with a different color. And now I have a second frame of a different color. Let's do that again. Right click on the frame, right click on the layer, duplicate layer, double click on the layer name, rename it, return, select a different color, and bucket fill. I'm gonna do that just the way I did those 7 more times. All right, I've got 10 layers made here. And notice there's a little eyeball or a little eye next to all of them. That means that the frame is, or the layer is visible. Now, observe what happens if I turn this one off. If I turn the top layer off, I can see the layer underneath, almost like we're pulling the blanket off the bed to see the one underneath, or taking the bread off the top of a sandwich to see what's inside. If I turn this layer off, I see what's underneath, and so on down the line. You can think of this as sort of if you're up here looking down on your image, and the first layer at the top is the one that you're going to see first. So that's going to be on top of everything, and then the next layer, and so on. And you can move these around by clicking and dragging on them in order to reorient. Also, I'm not going to go into this, but notice that having a layer visible is different than having it selected. So here I have frame 5 selected, and I might have frame 8, the one that I'm seeing on top. So be aware of that. That might come into play later. In fact, it will come into play later. Okay, we're ready to export all of these frames as an animated GIF. To do that, we're going to go up to, looks like this is cut off a little bit in the window, but I'm going to go to File, way over on the left, and Export as GIF. And it's going to bring up a preview so we can see as it cycles through our layers what our GIF looks like, what our animation looks like frame by frame. Let's slow this down a little bit with the speed slider so we can see now that there it starts, and I'm going up, blue, purple, yellow, green, back down to the bottom. So it is indeed cycling from the frame 1 upward through frame 10 and then back to frame 1. And you can change the speed here. You can also change the speed by changing the name of the layer. You can add another bit of code there to indicate how long that frame should be displayed. We don't need to go into that right now, but be aware of that. So I'm going to export this. I'm going to hit save, and I'm going to get an ad. Close that. That should have exported to my... Let's try that again. File, export as GIF, save. There it goes. So it's going to drop that into my download folder. Now, one last thing, or a couple last things. If I go to my download folder, what if I try and open this? If I double click it, it's going to open in preview like any image. So you guys are familiar with preview now, but look what it did. It didn't display it as a GIF. It opened it as all of my individual 10 images, all my individual frames. So that's kind of cool. Well, how do I see my GIF? A different application, like if you put it into a text message, it will display as a GIF. If you put it into a web page, it will display as a GIF. Let's go to the class. I'm going to go to the classroom, and we'll go to graphic design here, period 2. And I can drop it in here if I upload, browse, downloads. It was this one. There it is. There you have it. That's all for this one. Go ahead now and get logged into Photopea. Create your cycling background, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.